Let's start from the beginning.
You want to know if I'm responsible for what happened? I might have something for the election.
Here's to a great story.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you my friend, Dan Rather.
Actors are always looking for something decent. They're looking for roles that feel like they can fit in as an actor, and this is one of them.
The President of the United States may have gone AWOL from the military.
It just tells the events of the story and hopefully propels the audience out into quite an interesting conversation about centralization of media ownership and what is the truth.
What was fascinating for me was the responsibility and the accountability of these journalists and the pressure that they had to deliver the facts.
It's an incredible cast, and I think it's a credit to the script. I think the script is what brought this cast together.
And cut! Very nice!
Cutting.
Jamie Vanderbilt is just a brilliant, brilliant writer because he took a story that has many angles and gave a truly fair portrayal of the incidents that happened.
Jamie's a great storyteller. I think he's really proven it, and he wanted the truth to be his first film out the gate as a director.
I love films that take you inside something that we all kind of look at, and so I was really fascinated by how does a news story get put together and put on the air in the first place.
Jamie approached the project by doing an enormous amount of research. So that went into the writing of the script, and I think it all starts from the authenticity of the screenplay itself.
What I also really like about Jamie's script, apart from the fact it doesn't come down, doesn't take sides, doesn't tell the audience what to think, it's very neutral. He's describing the story. I'm the producer. I find the story. I write and cut the piece. I put the team together. Colonel Roger Charles worked Abu Ghraib for us. We have Lucy Scott to run point. Mike Smith was a researcher for us back in 2000.
But it's a great cast of Dennis and Liz and Topher.
It is a crack team.
Cate is special. She's a special person on many levels. She's not only accomplished, but she's very dedicated and she's very committed to the art of acting. And I think it shows in her performances. So it was a pleasure to work with her.
They're trying to get Killian to file a rating for Bush while he wasn't even on base. This is proof he was AWOL. Mary Mapes is disarmingly frank and honest. She's a true person. She's a straight shooter. Do you have these documents?
Let's say I have the documents. Why should I show them to you?
Her process as a journalist was to deliver what she said she was going to deliver. And I think that's where she and Dan connected, is they both have this great sense of empathy for the people who are in the stories that they are communicating. I promise we will protect you. She's very open. I think it's where she was able to get people to trust her, is because she's just naturally open. But the downside of that is that you lay yourself wide open to be hit.
CBS has hired a big firm to conduct a review panel. They specialize in internal investigations.
And this story, she's always someone who's been behind the camera, and suddenly she was in front of the camera and monumentally exposed and not particularly supported by the organization that she'd worked 16 years for. She was in free fall.
Stop worrying about me. You gotta protect yourself now. We all do.
You really get the sense with Bob that he's interested in the whole endeavor, and that's something that I really respect and admire.
I always knew I'd wanted Bob to play Dan Rather.
Why did you get into journalism?
Curiosity. Why'd you get into it?
You.
The idea of sort of casting an icon to play an icon always was sort of fascinating to me.
I've long been an admirer, not only of him as an actor, but as an activist and as an instigator of so many important cultural institutions. He would do this thing where he'd just start talking to you and you think, what you're saying is really familiar. And then you realize he's running lines. And so kind of the process of moving from everyday conversation into the dialogue was seamless. He's so disarmingly natural. It was a real privilege to work with him.
People have been attacking me for 30 years. It's not about to start bothering me now.
We're gonna be in a fight here, Dan.
I've still got a few good ones left in me.
He's a very specific character who's quite known to audiences. He's basically in your face every night, you know, for many, many years. So you're going to be playing that character, and you have to be careful not to make it a caricature. And yet, on the other hand, you want to try to present the essence of the character. So it was like a carefully executed situation. You know, you had to look somewhat like him, behave somewhat like him. But if you went too far, you would go into caricature, and I didn't want that.
Asking questions, that's important. Some people are going to say it doesn't matter, but you stop asking questions, and that's when the American people lose. They're really going to run it this time?
Yep, they're gonna run it.
because you said that last week.
They're gonna run it, Roger.
I absolutely adored working with Dennis. Fantastic, great sense of humor.
Well, hell's bells, you brought me a hippie?
Colonel Charles was a true patriot. He's a soldier through and through. He was a person who believed in duty. When he sees things that just don't jibe up in the way of justice, he speaks out about them.
This is bad.
No. When they start asking to talk to our source, then it'll be bad.
Topher and I have worked together 3 times. He's a great actor. He's perfect for this role.
In reading the character and reading of him what I did in Mary's book, I really believe he's the closest that I would be like in this kind of motley crew.
Bloggers are saying it's a big red flag this was done on a computer. They say it didn't exist on typewriters in the 1970s.
Well,
One of our examiners did raise that concern as well.
Lucy Scott, who is a professor of journalism, is sort of the voice that sometimes hypes up, sometimes when she shouldn't, and tries to sort of poke holes sometimes in what they're doing and whether or not they're doing the right thing, and asks questions. At one point she says, that she's not confident in what they're doing and that she feels that it's rumor and innuendo and they don't have the facts. And what she means by that is where news is going, and that there's an argument for that is what a lot of news programs are today.
Hey, Andrew, I need him.
Well, you're not taking them.
You say that, but here I am.
Let's go. Dan, you can't lead your own party. I got 50 affiliates and their wives waiting to talk with you.
My impressions of Andrew Hayward upon reading the script were that he was a guy that was put in a very difficult position, not knowing specifically what they had supported and what they hadn't supported.
Now, look, these things are fairly easy. We're just going to sit and talk for a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, now, I will want to ask you about why you misled us. I don't want you to be surprised by anything.
No, I was expecting that. I'm happy to set the record straight.
Great.
Bill Burkett is a whistleblower, in a way, in this story. They didn't want people to know that they were the source on this.
So then that's why you lied to us.
Yes.
Now, news about CBS News and the questions surrounding documents we aired on this broadcast. Then when this happened in 2004, I wasn't as focused on journalism at that time, but I think the consequences, what's interesting. I'm going to apologize for the story on air.
Andrew asked you to apologize?
He didn't ask.
Both situations were about the same thing. With All the President's Men, it was about hard work. This had the same elements involved. 2 characters who were not exactly alike. They were slightly different people, but they were connected out of loyalty. They were connected because of their commitment to their job to get to the truth, and they worked together to get to the truth.
They do not get to smack us just for asking them questions.
You gotta make your case to the panel, honey. You have to fight.
It is a cautionary tale about journalism and about where we're headed, and we think it's an important and timely story to tell.
This isn't a trial. This is a hunt.
The deck is stacked. The game's rigged.
At the end of the day, the movie is a part of history and memorable.
Our story was about whether Bush fulfilled his service. Nobody wants to talk about that. They want to talk about fonts and forgeries and conspiracy theories, and they hope to God the truth gets lost in the scroll.
Hey, Mary. I believe you.